listen, learn, engage Dr. Iman Blak, article reasoning, article teaching. Come, be edutained. Metamorphosis.
Each and every Monday from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight.
Time, space, and mind. The basic dimensions of reality. Sound, movement, and thought. The basic responses of I and I. Metamorphosis.
Keep listening.
In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror.
Iman Blak, me no brown, me no white. Nasty Babylon stripe, you mad.
Guiding I eternally. Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, is live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
I'm gonna pass it, Black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria, gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Good evening, Iman Blak.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free.
I just you may have to do into because, me always even watch someone that tell life is and tough and that I have to see for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
How my one one machikum bakhna Africa da fa bakhna kida fanya kida farafet one machiki bunjul kida fa bunjul one yande kesawai kida fa bunjul one machiki bunjul kida fa bunjul dafnin rafet yom wentamenda ingama getting dafnin rafet yom wentamenda ingara dafnin rafet yom wentamenda ingara did you know that's a richer Africa did you know that's a richer Africa, did you know? Said the whole world love it, did you know? Said the whole world love it. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of that what you got. Be proud.
Change is gonna come. The change is gonna come. Not only just for some. So be ready. Be ready for the revolution.
Rastafari, sit upon his throne now. Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah. Rastafari, sit upon his throne now, telling us to come home, yeah. And all the things wicked Babylon done, trying to hold I down with his guns and ammunition, yeah. Intimidation, victimization. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah. Rastafari, sit upon his throne now. Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah.
And hear me, I say, do not despair, do not despair, do not despair.
A judgment, a judgment, a judgment,
Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis.
I said this world was created in a circle, and true fear man live it in a square. And it a force and I in a triangle, and it seems like some of us no care. But me say hell I go pop down, yeah. Come take a look in at the future. Hell I go pop down, yeah. If mankind no change them good behavior, them a go build more prison, cause the mobs them a go loot. Them a fi build more shot because them soldiers a go shoot. Them nah build no machine, nah no water boat, cause no man no want fi plant, but them want fi reap the fruits. Hell I go pop down, yeah. Come take a look in at the future. Hell I go pop down, yeah. If mankind no change them good behavior.
Black History Month. It's Reggae Month. It's the month of I and I and I. Greetings. Metamorphosis here. Another edition. Right in your ear. Things and times continue to change, while things and times remain the same. Paradox. So looking at the times, and we're giving thanks for being healthy enough to be present. And you know, we're living in a time that is turbulent. Some call it violent. Some call it end of times. People have all kind of language to describe it. Apocalyptic. Generation of vipers, murders, assassinations, world in chaos. And you see, with all of that, I'm on journeying into Portland, you know, and coming through St. Thomas and get onto a bus with pure schoolers. It's a long time I don't sit down among schoolers. Like since I don't coach some football, I don't sit down among schoolers on a bus for so long. I mean, I tell you, man, them busy with their mouth. Noisy, and I just hold it, and I know that you just touch me upon my shoulder and say, him not say nothing, him touch my shoulder and show me something, because I'm behind me. I'm going to look on the side, and I say, you want this? I'm going to look. I'm a phone, you know. I say, just drop out of your pocket, you know, elder. I'm going to say, thank you. There is space, and there is space within all of this chaos. Metamorphosis. Greetings, give thanks. I've already discourse here with my brethren. The ingenious one is passing and not just going through, holding it for a while. I want to share into a reasoning, because I'm saying to him, we're into this period called Black History Month. And I was asking them to just think into it now. Is it necessary? Is it relevant? And ultimately, what you think about, is there any difference between black history and what I am and what other people will sometimes call African history? The point is, we have some people in Jamaica now who are now voicing the opinion that this month of celebration is no longer relevant because, number one, we are black people already, so we shouldn't be celebrating black history because we're black. And it's, comparing us with other groups now. They're saying these other groups don't have no history that they celebrate for the month, so why should we? And all of these persons who are suddenly voicing some negative approach to this thing now are people we call educated in our society, Greco-Roman, English society, well-trained. Now, before my brethren speak, I just want to say something quickly about this black history thing, because it's something that really has its genesis in the United States. And in America, it became a very important symbol and a time for the people of melanin who were being oppressed to find a time to find them identity, to remind themselves of who them is. So it didn't begin as a month. It started off as a day, and then a week, and it grew into a month. Now, I'm saying this now, any black man in America who tells you that Black History Month is not necessary would be called Uncle Tom. He would be called a Tom, because he would not be one of those black people in America who thinks that ancestry and culture of African orientation is important. So in Jamaica, we also have Toms. Let us not be frightened by the fact that they're educated. We have Toms here. But that's just my view. Digital T.
Yes, sir.
Where you think now? We into this Black History Month, I was playing the music and thing. Tell me if it's important to you now as a man in a Jamaica and a youth man coming through. How do things sound to you?
Of course, it's important because it's about existence, so we have to know the history, how we exist in the first place. We can't go on like so we don't want to know that.
So who is the we now when you speak of we now? When you say the we, that must know. When you speak of we are you really referring to? Because there are groups of people in the island here who don't give a hoot about what we're talking about.
Africans, we talk about blackness. We should talk about enough time on this program.
So why are we not celebrating African history then?
It's not just about the melanin.
Okay.
But where black people really come from.
So are you saying that the black people, because in Jamaica, we have an issue with identity.
Yeah.
So we know that through our history and so on, we that Africans were brought here.
Yeah.
Some escaped, some came as freedmen, some different conditions. So why are we not celebrating the history of African people? Is there a difference between, as I say, African history and black history? Black history sounds like something different now from the history of African people.
I don't see it as different, but most Jamaicans,
yeah,
most of them will say them are not African, them are Jamaican.
All right, so then are they saying them black?
I don't know them.
Yeah, it's a matter to get that now?
That's the way I say.
Yeah, but it's a serious identity issue.
Mm-hmm.
So should we be celebrating Africa's history, which is something tangible, which is something we can relate to?
I think there should be more education regarding African history. If we tie the two together.
When you say the two now, I say one, which is African history, and tie that together with what?
Blackness, so they must say Black History Month.
What is that now? Because if we're going to acknowledge African history, what then is black history? You see me? I sound like something different. Is it?
Must be the same thing.
Well, I don't sure. That's what I'm trying to say now.
Based on what they must say, it seems like it's something different because Them a try to make it look like it's a race thing, like it's an ethnic thing.
And what is it really then? So it is not that.
Them a make it look like say it's a racism thing, basically.
Ism, no, that's different thing.
Ism.
Because race different. Because race, I'm saying no, is an important construct, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm saying no, are we interested in studying the history of the African race? Or are we interested?
And the ism, them a put it as
some isms.
Yeah, isms.
So how would that look today? I know, because what I'm saying today, I know we have people who can have access to the media, people writing to the press, because they have influence, and they're saying that this is a kind of waste of time. No, with the introduction of Reggae Month, no. You think that it helped the cause of celebrating Black history, or you think it water it down, or what kind of effect you think?
It not help because Reggae Month is just celebrating our culture in Jamaica. You know, so it not gonna help Black history. It mostly take away from it. Yeah, because like my sister Peter talked Thursday ago, and it's like them want to just make all the attention go towards Reggae Month. Really, it's not really about Black history no more.
Perhaps because the notion of Black history losing its essence because history really should be about Africa.
Yeah.
You see what I say?
Mm-hmm.
So a man can easily jump up and say, well, boy, I'm not black, you know, come and point my your shoes and say, see black there?
Mm-hmm.
That's what me look, him say, I look so. But if you begin to speak to him as to his identity as an African, at first, I think it's hard for him to get away, you know. You know?
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's the semantics of the whole thing now, where people will not really want to claim say them black, but it's difficult to deny being an African if you check yourself historically.
True.
So, why I'm saying this now is that we, the people who enjoy the celebration, must realize that it can be taken away because we never really create it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we really adapt out of the United States. So how you think we could have claim this now? What we could do in Jamaica for claim Black history? Because we're having a serious problem.
It have to start with education, as I say, because...
Where? What level of education? Where are we going to start with it?
It have to start from the grassroots, basically. Just like when I teach basic school, some things when they're relevant. You know? You can start from the grassroots, make people know their true identity.
So what about the teachers then? So what about the teachers then? You know, think that the teachers them need to be drafted in first.
Them have to go learn it.
Yeah, you know, in other words, now if we're going to really have a program
Yeah.
to bring this consciousness that we speak about, it can't just willy-nilly out there and just think let's put the grassroots people going to learn it. Who are going to be the teachers who are equipped to bring this information out to the youths? You know, so we're like all the teachers' colleges and all them places. Them places that deal with what we talk about.
But it have to start with acceptance too, because most of them people don't really accept the whole African thing. So it have to start with the acceptance of oneself, identity, true identity.
Why do you think it's so hard for a person born in Jamaica to acknowledge that they're an African? Why do you think it's so difficult? Because it's easy to say you're a Jamaican, because I mean this is where you're born.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think we're having an issue with moving the identity off of the island? Where do you think I'm going? Because you're there long enough now. Why we not? Why do you think it's at the same position?
I don't even know.
You know, man. You know, Cassidy, don't you know?
We don't know, Cassidy. We don't know.
Because, for example, no, how do you tell your son that he's an African? When he say, well, Daddy, I'm born in Jamaica and I'm a Jamaican. How you tell your son that he's an African? Because like I said, they said I was starting. Oh, what is it? What do we do? What do we say? Because the Chinaman has no problem telling his child that he's a Chinese. So why we keep struggling? Because next February, we might be here again, saying the same things,
And no matter, well, it comes around to where if true, no matter where Chinaman born, him a Chinese.
Yeah, so what is our issue then? And that may I say today?
A real meds, man.
Yeah? So we have some, and the problem I'm suggesting that is more in our psychology,
Yeah.
In our psyche. The problems tend to rest,
True.
And you just say identity is a foundation now to, I think, our problems. So those who right now arguing now say Black history must come off of the map, they are also the ones who pushing this reggae thing. And in an era when you come through now as a musician and a presenter, is there a difference you see now between reggae music and dancehall? It's two different type of music, or is reggae music? Or you see the two?
Two different sound, two different type of construct. One reggae, one drop is a different sound. But dancehall are more upbeat thing. Just like the difference between mento and ska and all of that.
So when we celebrate this month, a dancehall, we celebrate reggae. Are we not making a distinction?
Reggae no speak for mento and dancehall and ska.
All right.
Reggae a different genre,
So
reggae identify as a different
genre. So in this
genre.
month, when we celebrate the music.
That's reggae. So we no business about dancehall.
So the dancehall not supposed to get no
all of that.
Right now.
Yeah, that's reggae.
But me don't know for that me hear on the radio.
That's reggae. Because that's a confusion,
yes.
around the world, People say reggae sometimes and a dancehall they really mean to.
So that means so where is
it's a different genre.
Where's the borderline? Like how you know when you're not into reggae and now you're into dancehall? What is the defining point or moment?
It's a different sound.
Sound.
Yeah.
Instrumentation or lyrics?
Not just the lyrics.
Instruments as well?
Yeah.
Because I am of the view, maybe true, I coming from a more ancient school, that the essence of reggae was really the message.
Reggae
has
to do with the entire beat and the message and all of that. Because you have conscious reggae, just like you have lovers rock reggae same way. So it's not necessarily the message alone. It has to do with the entire beat.
So the dancehall, if you don't have a message, then it's all right. If the beat is okay.
Reggae is a more authentic sound.
What do you mean?
In terms of authenticity to the instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like a live instrument sound.
Yeah.
Dancehall is a more computerized thing, really.
So you see the difficulty now, I think, if you're going to try to tie in this celebration of Reggae Month with Black History Month, it look like it's two, like the things them going in different direction.
Yeah.
So what is the strategy? I mean, you think this is an accident?
No, as I say, the people them up there were what we say, brilliant.
The bright mind, the bright ones.
At them,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, historically, the plantation has been run by the bright ones. And we have the results to show, because the development of the culture always gets stymied. There's always a way to kind of limit the power of the culture, which is really the music, and the culture, which is really African. So I'm on I still because me and my quandary now, because I used to really support this Black History Month, vehemently. And kind of forced me to kind of slow down a little bit and really look at it. What is we really doing? Are we really celebrating a set of events just from movies to slavery to the present? And every February is the same thing and the same gathering and the same talking. And really see if anything, if we're moving.
Yeah.
If we're moving, So maybe even looking into the language of what we're celebrating, maybe if we want to talk about Black history, we have to explain what is blackness. Yeah, what is blackness? If you want to talk about Black history.
which I have done many times.
Yeah, the history of blackness, which goes beyond a nation and goes into science and goes into physiology and them thing there.
Melanin.
Yeah, but we're not even looking at it from that angle there. So, may I throw it out now, because the artists, them and the musicians, them who are celebrating, we need to begin to write some songs that maybe speak to some of the issues now. You know, this difference between being black in your consciousness and being African in your nationality, and lose the fear about being called racist.
I'm going to tell you, see, in the world, I'm going to say happen, a lot of things people now have to address. People just avoid a lot of things.
Well, you know,
just to go through.
But
they're not going to address it.
Go through where? Where them really go through go?
just to abscond.
Yeah.
Just to avoid it.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's only for a time, because the same thing you try to avoid, we eventually face it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like Baba say, running away, but you can't run away from yourself.
True.
You know? So all we say now within this reasoning now with the ingenious one is that may I query the whole, may I query everything, you know? Me the man thinks no matter what you're convinced about, you have to make space to question it. Okay, even your own convictions that you hold on to from donkey years, a time come when you have to pause and just where call re-step, where call step back and look upon the thing and give it another look again, critically, and then you decide whether you're going to embrace that or you're going to make some changes. You know?
Enough people know the right from the wrong, you know, but as I said, them just want to elude the whole thing, because if them address it, controversial sometime, and them just want to avoid the controversy. As I say, might have to come back around, but most of the time that is the case. Them know the right thing, but them just not address it, treat controversial.
And maybe the word is fear, you know.
Fear.
There's a fear of the consequences.
Yeah.
And so rather than make the boat rock, you just hold your corner.
Yeah.
So everybody hold them corner and feel the wrath. Nobody complain. And the first time one man complain,
then it will lead to,
you
know.
Anyway, it's a reflect, you know, and reasoning and thinking it out, because we have these celebrations. Next month we're going into some Christian celebrations now, which we have to stop and also question what is the nature of these times of spending, you know. So we go from black history now into Christendom, and we leave Africa behind again until the next 11 months, and we come around to February, we talk about Africa again. We will talk about Africa again a little bit in August when Garvey time come, and we talk a little bit about Africa there, so, and then it go down again until, so it look like, to me it look like a kind of merry-go-round thing. And we kind of tired of the merry-go-round. And I think I said, no, the concept of everything have to be a struggle, me and a man cannot get tired of that. Yeah, man, because there must be a time when things can be just done. You know?
Fear is the word, for true. Fear is the word. As I say, you want to, but you don't want to.
Yeah, and we have to overpower that, get over that bump, and get into action, you know, through the power of the will. And the thing that we're trying to develop in this February month, identity. I'm going to say one more thing, digitality. You see the identity concept, we kind of conclude and say we have what we call 3 pillars of identity. And this is really the message for this session. I think your identity is built upon 3 foundations, 3 pillars. One is your race, one is your gender, and the other one is your name. Them 3 structures there. From the egg and the sperm connect, you have an identity that is based upon your race. Because you have eyes, you have skin, which is the first organ, which define your physiological or your makeup. So you have that. You have gender, which is defined whether you're male or female, or you have a mixture of both. And the one that society gives us now is a name. And that's the one of the most important part of our identity, our name. Because it connect with our history and culture. It connect with the time and space and ancestral forces. So I think why we're having a problem with identity is that from we get colonized, the name part get damaged. Them I tell you after the last 20 years now, say not no name race. And now them I show you say there's no gender because you can be anything and everything and both mix up. So, may I say, we as African people, black people, we have to get that pillar together. We have to get our consciousness around our race. As Garvey said, race first. Chinaman said race first. Trump said race first. It's race first. It doesn't make you a racist to say race first.
Yeah.
It's what you practice now. When determine whether you're a racist or whether you're practicing racism. So I say we have to get our thing together. Get our concept of gender properly. No apple can become an orange. And the orange can become an apple. And we hold male, female as a foundation.
True.
Yeah, we hold that.
So do so.
We deal with the racial identity and our foundation. And we begin to resurrect with name. Yeah, we forget. Right now, most of us have names that come out of the whole empire of slavery. And many people have been shaking it off little by little to reconstruct them identity. So I say, part of the Black History Month, then perhaps is how do we restore our identity. So, say what I say. Got the music will run.
Yeah, man. Give thanks.
Yeah, man. Say what you say, man. Digital T.
Yeah, man. We have to just share knowledge. Man like you, we really study the thing, you know, and profound with it. Have to just share and hope that whosoever listen will learn something and make a change. It will make a difference, you know. Because I saw knowledge going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's either you choose to make a difference. You can choose to make a difference. You can choose to accept it or not. You know, so it just goes through education factor and forums and, you know, platform like these.
Hopeful.
Yeah.
My message in this session is that we have to work very hard at unlearning.
Yeah.
You see, because we are so learned in what they have told us that when you begin to realize that after it don't go so, that is when the struggle really begins now, you know, how to unlearn. How to take Humpty Dumpty off of the wall and put Jack over the hill and all them things. How do you unwind all of them things that were then put in our system. So I'm saying unlearning is a hard work. And maybe that's what Digital T was referring to. Them say, when a man have to unlearn him, I say, boy, I can't bother.
Yeah.
I can't bother, and boy, too hard, and number one, I'm afraid, and blah, blah, blah. And so, brother, that's what you call it, go through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying to them, the work is not to learn. We overlearn, you know. We overlearn. Whereas we have access to push button and information, we overlearn. We're overloaded with data. We have to go through a process now called unlearning, letting go. And the ancients would tell you that your cup can't full up unless you let go and empty what is in there, some of what is in there. So we could go through that process and upgrade self-esteem. Yeah, I'm a matter of for 2019 now. Upgrade self-esteem for 2019.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Lion. Give thanks, Digital.
Yeah, man.
Jah come now, Rastafari. Say new kingdom come now. Yeah, Jah come now. The conquering lion is here to break every chain and give I the victory again and again and again. Schemes and conspiracies, false rulers without morality. You're counseling with prejudices and constantly making us your victims. And you show no love for the poor, applying pressure more and more. Never care for the people's concern. So in a flames and fire you will burn. Cause you're coming with a new day, terrible to man and pagan. None can escape when your fire start to kindle and the earth start shake. Oh gosh, the conquering lion is here to break every chain side. And the basic needs for them to stay alive makes it so critical. See, good Father, come down and pour out your heart. Have mercy on the weak in spirit and the poor in heart. Deliver them quick before them get caught in false rituals. Ooh-wee. Draw not your face from them in ignorance, soldier. With them you made a covenant, deliverance, soldier. Oh yes, Jah kingdom come down. Hey.
Shall not enter. These are all alone. Be wise on a true monster. Sipping from the cup of peace. Chant down a Babylon. Chant down Babylon. Chant down a Babylon. Chant down Babylon.
Yes, Eli. You are giving thanks for the discourse, giving thanks for Digital T's presence and his input into the metamorphosis. We're carrying the whole idea that has been given to us and which we have embraced, I and I gladly, a time to celebrate. And within the celebration, though it's the shortest but the most accurate month, 4 weeks, it is a time for people of this plantation now, Jamaica, to arise to the whole fullness of why is there a need to celebrate what is called Black History Month. And always bearing in mind that its genesis is in the United States, where the oppression of black people is at its greatest, apartheid style oppression, right there in the North American plantation. So in a dispossessed and a distraught and a totally dehumanized African population is in that settings. And they're there for 100 and 200 and 300 years, picking, cutting and building the empire of America. This is a place where the most barbarism manifests itself amongst black people. I think the islands of the Caribbean could not be can't match the intensity of the violence of black people in America. And the violence of the weather alone kill enough away. Just the weather and its violence and the brute cold, which is real hell for black people. So this moment of celebration decided by, forget the doctor, his name, somebody will text me and tell me, recognize that black people were so downtrodden in America. All institutions working against them. Everything. That there was really no outlet or no visible sign of our symbol that black people could rally around to bring forward a sense of dignity again. Self-dignity. Because it's in the media is powerful. And the projections of the black man in the media. You see what's happening today, reflecting on the black face. It's a long time those type of racist behaviors in America. It's not anything new, you know. Just that we meaning the people in the Western world, black people, usually be hidden from it. And usually hide ourselves consciously, and sometimes the technology wasn't there. Now everything is on camera. So the brutality of the black man in America cannot be imagined by the black people in the Caribbean. Cannot be imagined. unimaginable. So the importance of developing literally an institution to remind the black people in America of them experience and them genesis it was vital, it was important. And so the celebration at one time was 1 week, Negro Week, because you had to fight through that whole cloud of white superstructure to get this recognition. So there was a Negro Week celebration. And even the language itself, the Negro, is another issue. Because what is a Negro? What is a Negro? Is a Negro just coming to the studio, Cassidy? Is a Negro enter? Somebody enter, we don't even know if it's a Negro or not. But on the there's a young lady here now, and she look like an African princess, but the virgin look like a Negro. Him soon tell me. Anyways, she have a nice smile, I said another virgin. Cassidy, this is interrupting, You know that I'm interrupting myself. But anyway, as we say now, identity. On the board, somebody was asking, are we just Africans or Negroes? Very good question, because it relates to how we perceive ourselves as a people now. So, when this celebration was developing in North America, it was called Negro Week, because the concept of the black man coming out of emancipation was that it wasn't wise to call himself an African, because the image of Africa remained what the media presented. Nobody wanted to be a part of that jungle life and that life of savages and barbarism and cannibalism. Nobody really wanted to connect themselves mentally to that. So it was easy to move away from calling himself an African. And the term that was developed was Negro. Now, in real terms, there is no place called Negro land. There is no land that Negroes can identify with. And in the Bible stories of the teachings, God never created any Negroes. The Bible story tells the people that said, God said, let us make man. So we have to begin to question, what is this Negro? What is that concept? Where did it come from? And we can trace it through linguistics, the language, and realize that it's coming out of the Spanish, and it's ultimately coming from the Latin, and ultimately comes from the Greek. When you reach Greek, it's necro, not negro. It's necro, N-E-C-R-O. And that really means dead. So the whole birth of the Negro concept was about redefining African people as dead people, walking dead. Are you a Negro? Metamorphosis.
I and I mind to go through the same thing like I and I forbearance, but cheerings. Before rise, Lord Africa, rise, cry blood Africa, cry blood.
PVP, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak, kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Yes. Metamorphosis. We're going through into this period of examination of identity. And we have some persons passing through the studio who come to define themselves as, are they Jamaicans? Are you a Jamaican? Yeah, because I guess what happened now. You know, this concept of who you really are, you know, I am, the I am thing, is a critical thing because people can change them citizenship and therefore change them identity. So we have identity at different levels now, you know. But we're talking about identities that we are really born with versus the ones that we are socialized into. So for example, now, most people have a political identity. Like some people here would be called orange and some called green in our Jamaican context. But them don't born so. And it's not fixed. So in other words, certain identities are not fixed, you know. But I'm showing you that certain identities are also fixed. Now, I was saying the digital to you earlier. The fixed identities are the ones that we should be focusing on. And bringing those identities now into a sort of synergy, a synchronization within our own self. So now, we have a religious identity. Because some man is Rastafari as a religion, and some man is Baptist, and some people is Pentecostal. Those things are also socially created. Because we don't born within those things. We can switch, we can change up. So which identities are important then? Because we can let go the political one, and we can let go the religious one. People are identified by class, you know. But class is defined by your money and your education. So that again is something constructed by society. Which identities now are we born with? Them one is no important, you know. The other one, them just come and go. You also have a national identity, you know. Based on the land where you're born. But you can't change that by route of citizenship. You can go to FIFA and tell them, say, boy, you want to play for another country and a couple of years from now you're a citizen. So which identities are fixed? You know, you see the white man know these things, you know. While him was on the plantation, him working him way out to destroy these essences of our identity, him know him I do, you know. That's why him set up the church. That's why I set up a school. So you see them two things there now? And it's governed by preachers and teachers. And then the state come together now as politicians. So them rope in the people them. And them get in upon them self. But because the people don't know them identity now, the people are controlled. So which part of our identity now we need to hold on to forever? That no matter what the politician or the preacher say, we can remain intact. Because them seem to make us sway. So you have an idea? I have some people here now, you know. Them in the audience. You ever see them Americans talk show where they have the people in the audience? That's what Metamorphosis are run now, you know. Yeah, man, but people in the audience, I'm put up some sign and you hear them applaud and all them things. Yeah. Some prize giving thing. Yeah, man, we can do it, you know. Yeah. We can do it. So we're throwing it out now. We show yourself about 4 different types of identities that we take on as we born, and we can let them go. But the fundamental ones, no. I'm saying the first one is race. I'm saying the first level of identity is race. And race is based upon now your physiological makeup. And you determine that first by observation. The first thing you observe on a person is to identify them. And when you look at the person, the first thing you see is them skin. You can't escape this now, you know. And a makeup thing, and a rasta talk, you know. You see them skin. So the skin becomes a site of identity. What goes out of the skin is a hair. That also becomes part of your identity. And your eyes. See, this coming out of a level of biology now, you know, coming from a same level of cells where creation taking place. So when you look at a person, you're able to identify them by them skin, by them hair, and by them eyes. And then when you begin to go deeper into the skin, now you realize that not everybody have the same skin. Because skin have coloration, skin have pigmentation. So your identity now goes to the level of the pigmentation in your skin. That's what helps to define your race. So you belong to a pigmented race. We're not even calling no national land, you know. We're not calling no Africa, no nothing, you know. We're talking about your physiological identity. And that's what makes you black. So it's not a color we're talking about now. We're talking about a state of nature. That is what blackness is. So when the sun hits our skin, the skin absorbs all the radiation and releases nothing, so you see blackness. Trap all the light. So the condition of being black is not something that is a curse. It's a blessing. Because it's the people who don't have the pigment and the melanin in them skin, them living in a cursed condition under the sun. That's why you have a $1 billion suntan lotion industry. Because a whole group of people on the planet who can't manage the sun because them lack pigmentation. And those people classify themselves as Caucasians. Not white people now, you know. Caucasians. And they are Caucasians simply because they lack pigmentation. It is the will of nature that set it up. I know you, Cassidy. And I know me. I saw it go. Metamorphosis.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
Ladies, DIB Home Center brings you Ladies Night Out.
Ooh, what do we have here?
A pre-Valentine's celebration. Shop at 11 West Palm Avenue on Wednesday, February 13 and get up to 30% savings on selected items. Enjoy Enjoy an evening of sheer relaxation from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Get valet parking. Be pampered with massages and facials as you indulge in champagne, hors d'oeuvres, and wine. Ladies, love is in the air, so let DIB Home Center show they care. DIB loves you best on Valentine's Day.
Guess what? Styles FM has a new business number for you to call, text, and now WhatsApp. 518-2399. To advertise your business and events, call, text, or WhatsApp us on
518-2399. 518-2399.
Don't forget, 518-2399.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best. With features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Ditchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Jambo, vipi, karibuni katika kipindi cha Doc Iman Blak. Kipindi chaitwa Metamorphosis. Jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Yes, the sound of Winston Rodney, one of the kings of reggae music. They say this is a reggae month, and there are several kings, several queens. We have a pantheon of royalty as it relates to rebel music. And Winston Rodney is one of the kings, just like Peter Tosh, just like Robert Nesta Marley, and just like Jimmy Cliff, Alton Ellis. We have kings. So we're limiting ourselves because of some European historian who defining who is the king of this and the king of that in black man culture. We are rejecting those type of things now, and we're going to begin to define and create our own standards. So there's a script on the text on the board there now saying that good night, Dr. Black, and I was telling that is this black door have no lock, so there's no C. It's BLAK. Thank you. But the reality is that the person is asking that they really want to know. Well, let me read it. Let me say the white persons are from which race? like how we are trying to identify black with Africa. What race is a Caucasian? Well, you have already answered the question. The name of the race is Caucasian. So the people who we are calling white, they are Caucasian people. And they have a very strange history that is not spoken about much, but is depicted often in cultural cartoons and movies. And they have a connection to the Caucasus mountain range. You can look up these things now by push button. The Caucasus mountain range. And they have a genesis and a history in that part of Europe. It even goes further beyond just the existence in Europe, but it goes into culture, ancient European caveman culture. So it's a whole different race of people. And there's no problem identifying that there are races and that the races have intermixed to a certain extent. But those who are trying to go around today from the educated academic positions and trying to claim now that there is no such thing as race. This is a new thing in the universities. This is a new line of reasoning that there is no such thing as race, that race is a social construct. Yet they double talk and saying, well, at the same time, we all belong to something called a human race. That is double talk. That is just to move black people further away from their identity. So we abandon being Africans to call ourselves humans. That is insanity. That is a European Caucasian invention. And we can't buy everything and swallow it wholesale. So when we speak about Caucasian as a term, look up them thing in a dictionary. Look up where these people claim they come from. Look into the history. Look into their history and how they relate their history to connection to the primates. These are the people who give themselves the whatever you want to call it, the title of being the descendants of the primates. Now, black people, pigmented people, melanin people have a very hard time digesting that idea. The whole idea that Charles Darwin came to articulate about the origin of the species. And its origins were about the Caucasians. Darwin didn't explore Africa and Asia to find the origins of the pigmented melanin people. No, he deals with the Caucasians. And these are a different race of people coming from a different environment. A highly competitive, harsh environment. So them psychology and them mentality and them what you call in its remnants of spirituality is very, very different. Almost diametrically opposed to the African, to the black man. And why I think we're having a problem with the semantics now is that the word African from a lot of literature that has been put out there is really a term that was created by the Europeans to describe the black melanin people that they saw on the continent. Their description forced the Romans to use the word Afri, which some people say means black in Latin. It's just a way to describe these people, because the first in them life, them seeing people of melanin. And the same thing would apply to the Greeks. When the Greeks, for the first time, go amongst the melanin people, they call them Ethiopians, with Ethiop supposed to be meaning black. So no matter how we in this modern time try to get around the concept and the terminology, the race of the people, burnt face, woolly hair, melanin skin, is black people. So we cannot afford now to join this crusade that is being carried on through the Western media, where now the concept of race is no longer existent, and then now we're hearing that gender now is under assault. Because now it's not a matter of he and she anymore. Well, as black people our Genesis tells us that there are two major principles in nature, one male, one female. And it's these principles that are responsible for procreation and the continuity of the race. And any group of people or any institution or anybody who try to interfere with this process, they're trying to introduce genocide into the race. So we have to hold on now to our identity when it comes to gender. Black males man must remain male, and female must remain female. We don't want to join the transgender thing that's going on and become it, and shim, and all of these different terms. We want to hold on to the female and the male as the foundation of our family structure. And we don't want to get into the concept of starting a family with two males. And we not embrace the idea of starting a family with two females either. We hold the principle that is the male and the female. That in that unity, there is life. So there is an assault against I and I as a people. It's happening at the level of identity. The identity that is constructed by our racial identity, our gender identity, and of course, the name. Name is vital. Name carry vibrations. Name carry spirit. Metamorphosis. Yeah, 500 years. 500 years of the same philosophy. What is that philosophy? It's a philosophy that has been holding one race superior over the other. It's a philosophy. It's an ideology based upon thoughts. And it's a European construction. And it manifests itself in nearly every institution. So whether it's the media, church, the school, the political arena, these are entertainment, you name it. All of these institutions are vehicles to manifest this philosophy of suppression. The philosophy that holds that this Caucasian race is supreme. And the term supreme now, we adopt it as a people now through the religious teachings. The concept of supreme. And we relate supreme now to whiteness and goodness. And supreme goodness is representation of the God and the Bible and the Jesus. All of these things are symbolically and they are white. But supreme evil, all of this now is darkness and black. What a thing, eh? So what about green? Not happening for green? And then we are told that these conditions now are in opposition to each other, black and white. This is another illusion. This is another illusion that black and white are in opposition. As a matter of fact, they try to tell you that they are opposites. When black has no opposite. Black is a state of total absorption. All energy absorbed. All light collected, nothing released. There's nothing opposite of that. So it's a deception. Because it keeps the people who are Caucasians in a sort of symbiotic relationship with black people. Because we keep seeing ourselves now as we are their opposite. And so if they are good, now we are evil. And we must try to become like them. So we try to become white. Yes, in every way. It begins with the thought process, the education system. That some of the people them who are black in their skin think whiter than the people who are Caucasians. So it's a whole mentality and it's a program. And we have to find ways to unlink and delink and find ways to free our thought processes from them type of thinking. You know. So we're looking at Black History Month. And we're looking at labels, looking at issues of identity. Why in a place like Jamaica with 96% of the population being descendants of African people, why is there so much denial of being African descendants? Why so many people trying to erase that descendants and to claim fully to be only Jamaicans? It's a very interesting dichotomy here because there must be respect for the culture that is here in Jamaica now, you know. Because there's over 500 years of struggle and existence of the black man in this space. So that's enough time to develop cultural patterns and habits. So sometimes there's a problem now with claiming African culture in a place like Jamaica. Because what aspect of the African culture do we embrace when there must be some aspect that we're going to be able to call Jamaican culture? So heritage now becomes more vital, I think, than culture. Heritage. So we can respect Jamaican culture, but we have to also respect the African heritage. And it's that part, I think, is creating the disconnect between people who are born in Jamaica and the lack of identity with being Africans. It is the heritage that they can't escape from. The heritage is the memory and the genetics. So when we begin to maybe celebrate more of the African heritage, we will get closer to our blackness. Yeah. Metamorphosis.
My little ever take it on me now.
Yeah, the chant of Robert Nesta Marley. Listen to the vocals, listen to the harmony. It says, rebel music. Up the tone, up the sound. Yeah, it's rebel music. Rebel music. Music of resistance. Music demanding change. Music exposing this status quo that is so uneven. So we're here again working out the perceptions that we hold about ourselves, oftentimes influenced through the institutions that we are forced to attend, like church and school. So we are into this month where we are given a license to dig up anything we want about history of black people and say almost anything we want and dress the way we choose to. And then after that, by March, everybody line up behind Pope Paul again and getting him back into Christendom. And the thing just goes around and around. We have to break that cycle. And it begins with consciousness. It's about getting control of your own brain. And the waves that come out of the brain and the energy that flow through your brain, you have to have some control over it. If you define whether it's going to be high wave or low wave or it's going to be, you have to have some input as to the meditation and the vibrations that you release out of your brain. So it's about awareness, consciousness, but it has to be grounded in something tangible. It can't be up into the air going around into the sky. It has to be grounded, and that groundation now comes with knowledge of your heritage, knowledge of your history, knowledge of your culture. So as we speak to Black History Month now, I see a difficulty with Black history when we compare Black history now to Bible history. Because there are serious issues. Because if you talk about Black history and history of Black people, African history, where and how does African history fit into Bible history? And whose history is longer? Whose history is more ancient? The history of the Bible and the stories of those persons in there, are the history of Africa and the various nations on the continent. So I and I can answer those questions for ourselves, because those who in control, not really excited about I and I becoming more conscious. We have to also stop calling these former owners of slave anything in the language of masters. We have to drop them terms and call them slave masters, They were owners and drivers of slaves, but they were never I masters. So we can't be in a semi-liberated stage and still talking about our slave masters and when our slave masters did this to it. And we have to break out of those type of thinking. It's a thought process, that leads to that transformation. It's a cycle of thinking, and we have to address how we think. So we're thinking about history. And there is African history. And I'm saying, no, it is more ancient than the history in the Bible. Because the history in the Bible break up itself into two time zones. One called the Old Testament and the other one called a new one. The new one is only 2,000 years and a little bit. And the old one is, them say 4,000, because them claim the world is 6,000 years old. Now African history, run with them kind of talk there. Because later on I'll talk to you about the tomb that they just opened in Egypt. Fresh tomb, 4,400 years old, untouched, unlooted, just as it was 4,000, 5,000 years ago. So where was this tomb then within the context of Bible history? Whole heap of things is out of order. And it will not be put in order by those who are captured and colonized us. Those who are interested in research have to reconnect the dots and present them. That the research becomes new knowledge. We have to create knowledge, not repeat what has been put down by Google and certain other sources of information. That is data. We have to reconnect the dots and present a different perspective. So, history, black history, working it out to see if it's different from African history. Because black is a term that has been corrupted over the last 400 years, 4,000 years. Because in its initial presentation to the earth, black was about divinity. Black was energy. Black was glorious. And within the dispensation that we're living in now, everything has been reversed. So what does black history mean? Are we looking at black as a noun or black as an adjective? Those things make a difference in the colonial language. If it's an adjective, then we are describing a type of history and not a people. And if it's a noun, then we're talking about a people who define themselves as black. We got to work it out. Metamorphosis. We have to recall our story, because what is history? What really is history? We're talking about, in simple terms, first of all, history must refer to the past. The past. And we'll explore further the concept of the past. It is connected to the dimension of time. And within time, we know of the past and we know of the present. But what about the dimension that is ahead? What we tend to want to call the future? How do we navigate the future? Do we consistently reflect on the past, or do we project our thoughts to the future? Because something must be done for us to move forward, you know. And can we move forward by thinking backwards about the things in the past all the time? Or do we have to not leave the past, you know, but be conscious of it, but we have to think forward, project more into the time to come than to reflect in so much time on what has passed already. In other words, we have to begin to think more what I call forward. We have to more engage in forward thinking and try to solve issues by thinking how to go forward more than thinking about what we did in the past. Subtle difference, but I'm suggesting that perhaps that's one way to change the gear, to take ourselves out of this lethargy. So the thinking about our identity, because identity, you know, is the source of the power. It gives you that energy to really do. So we're working out the elements, and I'm saying there are three pillars. There's a race aspect, there's a gender, and there's a name. But in a place like Jamaica, the racial side of the issue is becoming very, very problematic, because what we're seeing around us now is an explosion of bleaching. And the bleaching of the skin goes beyond cosmetics, because the society now is programmed on the whole notion of white being right and white is beautiful. And its economic system is tied into that philosophy as well. So our population now, which is black, basic black, realizing that perhaps the economics is easier to achieve and get closer to, the less black you are. Just putting it the way it is. So the less black you are, is the more people think that they have an opportunity in a place like Jamaica. The less black they are. It's a very dangerous position for people to put themselves into. But such it is. And we've been holding on to that for decades. Where mothers have been encouraging their daughters not to bring in any man in the house who too black, because the generation to come will be too dark. So we have this deep psychology and this fear of dark skin, because in the society look as if we are penalized for our dark skin. So there's a psychosocial effort to brown up, to lighten up. And in this lightening of the skin, it goes beyond cosmetics. It goes into the economics of the society, but it goes deeper than that. It goes into the psychology now of the individual who is bleaching. And by psychology, I mean mentality and personality. It begins to have an influence now on the personality of the individual. So personality now is a different construct than identity. And I'm saying the personality now is what is built upon your identity. So the race now on the skin, there's a destruction to the skin. And the destruction is the destruction of the cells that hold the memory within the melanin system. In other words now, what they tell you as color is not color. It is really a system of nerves in operation. So throughout the entire skin, there is a nervous system. No, this is not in the Caucasian people. This is, in other words, no, the normal human being has a central nervous system that runs from the brain and have a spinal column. And that is basically the whole essence of the nervous system in human beings who are normal. You see, in the black man now, you see in the African, him have an extra nervous system. And that extra nervous system is in his skin. It's created by the cells that are in the skin. These are live cells that don't even need blood to survive in the pigment of the skin. So I have an additional sensory perceptual system. So when you bleach, you kill that system and it becomes part of the disturbance now in the personality. Because the personality now also has a foundation that is rested in a physical being. That is the me. And the me is the body. And so we begin to disturb the foundation, which is the skin. Then the me is seriously disturbed. And when you begin to disturb the me, it's not so far away from the I and the self. And as our great psychologists and psychiatrists have said, Dr. Freddie Hicklin, Jamaica, have a serious personality problem where over 90% of the people have an illness in their personality. Metamorphosis.
Oh, so long.
The irony of the power of the skin is that the Caucasian who lacks this melanin system and lacks this memory and lacks this connection to the environment tries to compensate through chemicals and a whole industry now called sun tanning. They've created all kind of instrumentations and all kind of little gimmicks to create what they are calling coloration. They see themselves as lacking in color. And so they invent all of these things now to give themselves a chance to look brown. And when we talk about beauty now, within the context of the Caucasian views beauty within the terms of a man being tall, dark, and handsome. So they have this over respect for dark skin, but them fear it because it is a male that they fear that has a dark skin. What them fear most of the male is his powers of reproduction. Not a dimension that we're going into, but the fear is real. And so I have to know. Yeah, we have to know.
Unemployment, imprisonment, the way we do you. Slave rocket, empty wallet, broke pocket, the way we do you. In and yard, rent card, landlord, the way we do you. What about the ration? Don't mean a jam, don't mean all. It's all over creation. Not only in a jam, and now only inflation all over creation, yeah. And now be a starvation. Not only in a jam, homicide, suicide, genocide, the way we do you. Consideration, desperation, eradication, the way we do you. Gambling, hustling, scuffling, the way we do you. Keep up, stay broke, bad luck, the way we do you. What about the ration? Domination, it's all over creation. Not only in a jam, and now only inflation.
Yeah, the problem of bleaching is not a jam down Jamaica thing, you know. It's very, very powerful in the continent, in Senegal and in Nigeria and all those places, you know. The whole ideology of looking further away from black for status. Because it's a psychosocial economic thing now, you know. It's not just about self-hatred. I think it goes beyond that. It's more complicated than just people hating themselves and therefore bleaching. Is looking into how the society is set up and what they see as what is it that gives people a reward and what is it that puts you in the back of the class. And I realize in Jamaica we have this thing we're in from long time. We don't like things that are black and we are programmed to aspire towards things that are not black. So we have this brown mentality. People call themselves brown people in Jamaica. These same people, when they go on the plane and go to North America, no, they are not classified as black. Because there's no brown in America. There's no brown in most other countries in the world. So there's this attitude to try to get privilege out of our racial plantation society. And you get privilege nearer you go to white. You know, there's no difference from what's here that's going on in North America. And it goes beyond the skin too, because the hair now, which is an extension of the skin, is just another expression. So if the hair comes out natural, it's a problem. But if the hair is straightened and kinked and curled up and put to irons and look like the European white girl here, that's supposed to be a sign of beauty. And the white people now are trying to grow locks. And them trying to leave for them cave behavior, animal behavior, and trying to come into nature and to live natural. And I know being driven out of our natural condition to go and live like cave people. So it's a reversal thing now. It's only I can stop the reversal. And you stop it when you become aware of it. Otherwise, you're going to just move with the flow. So the hair bleaching and the skin bleaching is a destruction of the black psychology. You're destroying your memory system. You're destroying the foundation of your identity. So when you destroy your racial identity and you destroy your concept of gender, because now you're a he, she, and you're Q, and all of these forces now being pushed on you, then what, you are really being reduced to a different type of chattel. It's a different type of chattel slave. And ultimately now, is a name, is a key and part of the foundation to your identity. And it's long time the Europeans have been working on erasing our names. That has been a steady project. And it has been very successful. The backlash started in the 60s when I started get conscious and started with a man like Malcolm Little, realizing that Little was a plantation name. Ultimately transformed himself to El Hadji Shabazz. So it's a consciousness. Kwame Ture plantation name was Stokely Carmichael. He became awoke to the consciousness of himself, and he identified himself as Kwame Ture. The black people now who have been putting themselves through what you call baptism and born again Christians. These persons' brain basically freeze, Because to be born again as a Christian means you're freezing the brain of the African. And you're taking on to yourself now a whole different set of ideas and thinking that is alien. In this time, what we really need is some born again Africans. We need Africans, we need black people to be born again. Not in the Christendom frame. We hear that too long. We need to be born again Africans. Metamorphosis. hair that comes out of the skin is also a sense organ. Yeah, the hair that comes out of the black skin is a sense organ. Yeah, it's connected to that whole system of memory and feeling that generates out of the black skin. So the hair now, sensitive to vibrations. The hair also sometimes reflects the state of mind of the individual. For example, an individual who experiences fear. All of the hair can just stand up on them hand, or upon them body. All them hair just stand up out of fear. So there's an emotional reaction and a relationship to the hair, out of the skin. Now at a different level now, the hair out of the scalp. And this is the hair that surrounds the brain now. I postulate that these ears are not normal hairs, but they are areas. And that these areas provide a sort of network for collecting and sending data. Like a network of towers. In other words, now, like a radio station. And the hair has the ability to attract vibrations and to send out vibrations and to pick up signals. It's an organ of communication. I think we have been trained to believe that the hair is dead. I'm saying to you that the hair is alive and the hair have feelings. And the hair is sensitive. The same sensitivity that the insects demonstrate to be able to identify weather patterns and changes. I'm saying I have that capacity. Yeah, to be intuitive to the environment through the hair. Yeah, man. So within the biblical tradition now, the culture of the people who were Nazarenes, they never cut them hair. So the hair on the head grew as locks. So the locks on the hair on the head was a cultural practice coming from a certain way of life. But I'm saying the hair is not just nothing, not just a covering. It has value. And so we have to think it through, that the skin and the hair are part of the organs of sensation. But the African has been, for the last 2,000 years, told to hate his own skin. So he has rejected the skin, rejected his own hair, so he bleach his skin and then bleach his hair. So we're killing ourselves quietly. But with awareness, we can resurrect our own being. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis going through. Dr. Iman Blak here, coming up on the break in a few minutes. So I really want to wrap up this little section here now that deals with identity and touch on personality. Because every individual now have what we call a personality. And there are some persons who have multiple personalities. So really then what is a personality and how do we develop a personality? When you look at it really, it's not something, or is it something that we are born with? Are we born with our personality? Or is it something that is developed as we grow? Well, I'm saying one of the foundation aspects of our personality is our name. It is the name that is given to us from and by which we shall respond to throughout our lifetime. And what is the meaning of the name and the sound? Where it's coming from? What does it suggest? What does it imply? What does it project? And sometimes this has a long way to go with the personality of the person. In other words, the characteristics and them traits, how they behave and how they think. So how do we develop a sound personality? A personality that is based upon a type of consciousness that makes it upright in its activity and so on. Now, the name is also associated with the concept of the self. Yeah, because like I say, your name is where you call yourself, You call yourself by your name. All right, so you have a name. And that name that you identify with within culture, they all carry a vibration. And this is why I know it's important that you don't just choose any little dibby sound and attach it to the child and expect the child to be positive in them up for growth, in them own development. So we have to search for sounds that connect to something positive and hopefully something cultural and connected to the heritage of the individual. Now, the idea of yourself. And brethren who listen to the program Metamorphosis often ask the question about self-praise. And we hear as a youth say self-praise is no recommendation. Well, I'm asked to look into that and I've been thinking about it for a little while. And it's a very serious line because they tell you in Jamaica, say, it's not good for you to praise yourself. And when you turn around the corner now, people tell you, say, them don't really want to give you too much praise because your head might swell. So I started to think about what is the value of praise as it relates to development of your personality. How does praise come into the picture? And you know something? Praise is what sometimes provides motivation, Praise is what sometimes is like, that's what sweetens the labor because you have been praised. It's a type of reward. And children can be inspired by reward as much as they can be de-inspired by punishment. But we seem to have a problem amongst ourselves giving each other praise. Yes, we have a problem with that, and I don't really put my finger on it yet, as to really what would be the cause of we as a people having a problem or finding it difficult to give somebody praise. So when it comes to self-praise now, there are persons who find it quite useful to praise themselves, and at a certain level, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with complimenting yourself. But there's a limit to everything. And there's a balance to it. Now, if you keep going around in every situation and environment, and all you do is talk about the good that you are doing and praising yourself, that is a sign of an illness. Because if you're doing things to simply for the value of somebody to praise you, I think you missed the point. If you're doing things and when they are done, people feel like praise you, then so be it. But it is necessary, especially in the children, that they are motivated with praise. So it's a balance. I man think you have to can pat yourself on your back, and you can't wait for people to praise you. You have to be able to be critical enough to assess what you're doing. If there's quality, then you can praise yourself. You can go out and buy yourself a drink. You can take yourself you can do something for yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But we must be accustomed now to give people credit and praise children. Don't call them idiot, because I think praise is connected to self-esteem. And those who lack that type of motivation and praise will perhaps develop a lower type of self-esteem. So it's a D, may I work it out. Metamorphosis.
Business operators, local and overseas. This announcement is for you.
Styles FM is an internationally known radio network with worldwide listeners in over 120 countries.
From our studio in Port Antonio, Jamaica, to the ears of the people in your community, our listeners can be your new customers.
Styles FM is an economical, efficient, and effective advertising option for your business.
No matter the size of your business, there's always growth potential. Styles FM provides the customer reach needed to realize that upward movement.
So procrastinate no more. Advertising is a must.
For more details on how to advertise with Styles FM, visit www.stylesfm.com or email info@stylesfm.com or call us on 876-518-2399.
Styles FM, the world listens.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoothic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
I've been watching you.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital T.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score, with the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know the program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party, yeah we flawless. Euphoria the program every Tuesday.
5 to 9 every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital T.
Guess what? Styles FM has a new business number for you to call, text, and now WhatsApp. 518-2399. To advertise your business and events, call, text, or WhatsApp us on
518-2399. 518-2399.
Don't forget, 518-2399. Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Yes, we're there again. We're up on the scene again. Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak, exploring, examining, encouraging ones and ones to be critical in your thinking and be fearless and fear nothing because you're exercising a divine power. Now, you know, say, I have an issue now with some of my very close colleagues when it comes to the cultural movements and the movement of the mind and the thoughts of Rastafari and black people. The idea now of the ancestors. Some people might feel that I'm stepping on their toes, but maybe your toes are out in the way. The idea of the ancestors. Now, this is an idea I think we have to revisit, and just like everything else, check it out. How we come to this position. Now, it is all good to have respect for the elders. And I'm suggesting that the elders will mean those who are alive. And so they are elders, ancients. Now, the journey in the cycle, moving from birth to adolescent and middle and age and wherever, it takes us to the exit. So the exit now, we call it death. Some people call it a rebirth. We have all kind of terms for that point when the brain no longer functions. Because I'm defining that now as when the physical brain can no longer function. All the other organs go to sleep. Ultimately, when the brain shut down, nothing more can be said. The body dead. Now we having this big argument now amongst ourselves for the longest time, say life don't done this so because it's only the body dead. And we are having this big reasoning amongst ourselves that something leaves and something goes on to where nobody knows. But it is postulated that there is a place where this thing that we imagine goes. Because we have been living long enough and been to enough funerals and seen enough people dead on the earth. And none have really journeyed to share with the living where this thing that we talk about going. So we're there speculating that something is there to go. But within our old tradition now, we are identifying a place. And we're saying that when our family, our people, our generations pass through that exit, when do they become ancestors? At what point and when in time do those who go through the exit become ancestors? Because I asked this question now to say, a man like Bob Marley, is Marley now an ancestor? Is Marcus Garvey, who died in 1940, is he an ancestor? Is Imhotep, who passed away 3500 BC, is Imhotep an ancestor? And somebody might say, well, yes, everybody is an ancestor. And I'm saying then, I used to hear about our foreparents and our foremothers. I'm saying to the item now, is there a time dimension that we have to apply when we're talking about ancestors? Can a person die yesterday and they are now amongst the ancestors? And where are these ancestors gathered? Are we creating a place wherein we're having good ancestors and bad ancestors? Are we imagining something like the Christians now and thinking that there's a place for the good and a place for the bad? And our good ancestors are in one. So what about the ancestors who have committed all kind of atrocity? Are they in the same place with the ancestors who have done good? I am saying, we could stop and pause a little bit and re-examine our actions. And can we really be working for the ancestors? Should we not be working for posterity? How can we be working for the past? Shouldn't we not be working for what is to come? I just say, me want some reason more around this concept of the ancestor. And what is it we're doing when we're calling upon ancestors? Is it something different from when the Christians call upon them God? Or when they call upon them angels? And are we not getting distracted with our energies? I just say it, because I don't have to correct, but I have been thinking, and I've been hearing our dependency and crying out for our ancestors and ancestors this and ancestors that. And I'm saying it's sounding away like we're getting stuck at a point wherein the forces of what we call ancestors are memories. And when we realize where those memories are stored, it's not a calling we can call upon those memories to do nothing for us, I am saying. But perhaps those who know more can help I and I to get a greater clarity as to what is it when we talk about calling upon the ancestors and doing things on behalf of the ancestors and all of this. I am saying I think more know about the future. When do we think and do things for posterity? Metamorphosis.
Up in the earth.
Metamorphosis, moving into Alkibulan, our story, Kimit. Yeah, this is the real story of the black people. And the people are black not because of the sun. People are black because of the function of the pineal gland that releases the melatonin that makes the skin, develops the melanin. That's how we come together now, you know. I know you don't develop this blackness because of the sun. It's a biological process coming from the glandular system, and within the black man, he has an exceptional gland, just like him have an exceptional skin cell system. The Europeans teach us that the gland system stops at the what they call the master gland, along the line of the endocrine system. But the highest gland in the body is in the African. The highest gland is the pineal gland, and it's so ironic that amongst the Caucasian people, this gland is calcified in 95% of white people. The pineal does not function. So we are a supreme being. We are a supreme being, physiologically and psychologically and what we want to call spiritually. So the ancients, when we talk about our story now, has nothing to do with Bible story and has nothing to do with melodramas of slavery. And the evidence is always tangible, especially when we go into Africa, the continent, and go specifically into ancient Egypt. Right now, they have just uncovered a tomb, and the headline reads, "Untouched and Unlooted, 4,400-year-old tomb of Egyptian high priest discovered." Now, archaeologists, they have discovered a new tomb. This tomb is the final resting place of a high priest. And for 4,400 years, it has been there, untouched, still decorated with hieroglyphics. And it was found buried in one of those areas. And it is untouched, it's unlooted. So really and truly now, when you look at the images on this now, and you see a black man and black woman holding hands together, the king and his wife and the prince and his children, you realize that we're coming from we're not coming from no animal history. And we're not coming from no structure of family system where two men run the system or two women. We're coming from a system where it's a male and a female. And the well-preserved tomb is decorated with all kind of scenery, showing the royal priest alongside his mother, his wife, and other members of his family. So when we talk about our culture and our history, we have to talk about black history. And when we talk about black history now, we have to talk about the history of the ancient Egyptians. And that history is obvious. Now, this high priest, the documents show that he served during the 5th dynasty, during the reign of King Nefertari, between 2500 and 2300 years before the Christian era. So in other words, now, before we get mixed up with the Christian people and them confusion and them story about Abraham and all of this kind of thing, 2,500 years before, we have evidence of a high priest with him family being found in one of the ancient tombs in Egypt, under the pyramids. So we're not overwhelmed and confused by this education system that we have telling us that we were discovered in Africa and we were brought to civilization through Christianity. There's no way we can hold that, because the evidence is being uncovered day by day. So once we begin to recognize the anciency of the high priests and the culture of ancient Egypt and the dynasties that exist there, we move beyond the shores of Jamaica. That is how your mentality moves away from the island to Jamaica and begins to connect to a heritage that is yours. 4,400 years. This is when I'm telling you, say, Noah's flood going on. So Noah's flood taking place in Elko Corner, and the Egyptians and have them pyramids running in Africa. And why Egypt is so significant, and why the Europeans realize it's so significant, that's why they create this whole mythology now around Moses. And use the story of Moses to take the consciousness out of Africa and carry us into a desert. And we're accepting Moses now as a leader. Moses led the Hebrews. Moses never led black people. Moses never led the Africans. Moses never led the Egyptians. The Egyptians are a dynasty and a civilization for thousands of years before the birth of Moses and before the birth of the Christian era. So we have to know our cultural history. We have to know our heritage. Otherwise, we're going to be arguing amongst ourselves about being black and brown and being Jamaican and being non-Jamaican. It's not even a matter of those local identities. We have to go into our blackness, and our blackness will show us ancient Egypt. It will take us to the Dogons, show us Mali. It will show us other planetary systems, and it extends ourselves outside of the box. Now, why again Egypt is so important? That the Europeans have tried to capture Egypt, and they have tried to take the color out of the blackness out of Egypt and put color into Egypt. That the pharaohs now looking white, the queens, everything moving from black to brown to white. So it's a whole process, you know. And what I and I is saying that we must recapture it. We have to reclaim our own story. Ancient Egypt is a doorway to blackness. And all of these discoveries by Europeans is exposing the fact that the black people are the original people on the planet. And we don't come from the monkey, and we don't come out in the garden. We're more ancient than both stories. Metamorphosis. Within the context of ancient Egypt, we also come to learn about the idea of the Messiah. And this idea of the Messiah now is not the same Messiah idea that we get from the Christian and the Christian era. We're talking about before the Christian era. The concept of the Messiah existed. And within the ancient Egyptian religious system, the Messiah was Osiris. Yeah. In other words, now, because of the Roman Christian system and the enslavement of black people, we have only been introduced to the idea of a Messiah and connecting that Messiah to one called Jesus of Nazareth. And so within the Jewish writings, they speak out of their prophecies that there shall come a Messiah to save the Jewish world. The Jewish world now, make we not confuse yourself as African people, as black people. This Messiah was to save the Jewish world. And the Messiah did come, according to their story, to save the Jewish world. But over time, something slipped, and the Jewish world suddenly became the whole world. And so this Messiah now of the Jews, we are being told now, has come to save the whole world. Now, the original ancients, the Egyptians, within the context of our reasoning, within their religious teachings, they had a Messiah. And the Messiah was Osiris. And Osiris had a wife. The wife was Isis. Osiris also had a son, whose name was Horus. And Osiris became recognized within the Egyptian mythology as a part of the Trinity. Because the Trinity now is not a Christian concept. It's not something that the Europeans developed. It's an ancient African concept. And that Trinity was Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The father, the mother, and the child. And Osiris was crucified and resurrected 2,500 years before the Christian story about Jesus of Nazareth. So when you know our story, you don't need to hold on to their story. And their story tells us about a Messiah called Jesus of Nazareth. My story tells me about a Messiah called Osiris. My story also tells me about the first Christ. And the first Christ was Imhotep, the multi-genius, 3,000 years before the Christian era. So I had a Messiah, and I had a Christ from the time of the ancient cultures. In this modern dispensation, enough I will speak to Marcus Garvey as a Messiah. Metamorphosis.
Economic liberation is a duty I owe to posterity. Great Zimbabwe stands, ancient rocks solid firm. Come now, Jacob go down. Great Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls. When they saw Zimbabwe walls, they said it was the foundation. They said it was a Syrian. They said it was a Chinese. When they saw Zimbabwe walls, they said it came from the Iberian. We know it is 100% African. Yaga yo, naga naga na Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls. So who your Vasco de Gama be? So who Prince Henry the Navigator be? So who was yours? Sir Walter Raleigh. So who was Amerigo Vespucci? Some kind of Johnny come lately, talking about them make some kind of discovery. Iman is the living anthropology. Iman is the living archaeology. Yaga yaga yo, Zimbabwe wall, real Zimbabwe wall, Zimbabwe wall, great Zimbabwe walls, great Zimbabwe walls.
Yeah, the point in this song, you know, is that a lot of time when we talk about ancient history, we always talk about Ethiopia and Egypt. But you know, there is a great Zimbabwe in the southern side of the continent. Yeah, we have to look at the wider place now, you know. Don't make them just make we get myopic in our view, you know, and just looking into one little corner of Africa. It's a massive continent, east, west, north, south, and central, along with the Horn. But ancient Egypt is a gateway for Europe. That is the site where the Europeans for the first time began to get exposed to knowledge. And by Europeans, we mean the Greeks. First, the Caucasians who were allowed to come into Egypt, to come and sit at our feet and gather information and knowledge about the cosmos, about the gods and the goddesses and the chemistry and the physics and the biology, all the sciences. So it's an important doorway for black people to know themselves historically. So the Moses character now is so important because it is Moses that is set up to lead us out of Africa. Hollywood gets behind the movie industry and then push Moses. Moses come into our lives in the basket come down in a basket, sailing on the water in a river in a basket. And we take on this image now as our leader and becomes our great lawgiver. So plenty black people live in the Western world, living under the laws of Moses. You see it? Moses' laws. The commandments of Moses when he went on the mountain and used them tablets and connect to the cloud. High technology and get these laws. And these are the laws that we are walking around claiming that we must obey. And those who bring the laws to us, the Europeans, they don't abide by those laws. They don't abide by the laws of Moses. But they give us Moses as this great leader and tell us to follow him. So we're following him to the point where, the book that they give us, them says him write the first 5 books. But you see, if you stop and think again critically, you see the book called the Genesis. That could never be the first book, Oh, you mean what I mean? The Genesis could never be the first book. Because you have to have the people first. And the Hebrews, the Jews, their history begins with the Exodus. So after them write them story of the Exodus and start the numbering of the people, them realize that them have to have a beginning. Yeah. So the Genesis is not the first book. The Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, all of those literature had to be documented before people went to write about them beginning. They have to write them history. And the history of the Hebrews and the Jews is documented and recorded in what they call the Exodus. So the Exodus, I am saying, was really the first book of the Bible. First book of the whole history of the King James and the Jews. And later on down the road, the writers realized that they need to create a beginning. And that beginning called the Genesis was written long after, but it was put on the front of the book. Because every book must have a story that starts the book. And what is a better start than Once Upon a Time? Ain't no difference from In the Beginning. Once Upon a Time. What a way to start a story.
Africa had great kings and queens, you should know. Search your history, it will show. If you know not from whence you came, you are doomed to live in shame.
Great kings of Africa, rulers all about. They were mighty, brave and strong, tore every barriers down. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Now let no one fool you. Great was Shaka the Zulu. The British army never did see such a fierce warrior as he.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Afonso of the Congo region adopt this for his people, the Christian religion, never bowing to what was paid. Unite his people against the slave trade.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah.
Akhenaten, the first man to tell that the God is one, carved the theology that men could see, that the Almighty was no mystery.
In Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh, yeah. In Africa, oh yeah. In Africa, in Africa, yes I eat. In Africa, oh yeah. In Africa, yes I eat.
Hey, 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 hey. Calling Africans now, come. Hey. Wanna tell you don't walk, run. Got to rule your own kingdom. Yeah.
Yeah, see Shaka
Everywhere I hear the same sound, echoing voice of men and people. I hear a heathen say, Rasta feel it, then a sheathen say, Rasta dead. Hear a hooligan say, that we prove it, still another man say, one less dread, yo. Live, I still live, I still far I live. But yo, I still live, I still live, I still far I live. But yo, live, I still live, I still far I live. Hey. Oh, you like your thing, train up from the bed and work your way.
Yeah, I want to heal up some people who been listening to the Metamorphosis. I want to heal some of my original people. I don't even know if them know them, I still remember them. But I want to heal up Valerie from Springbanks. I don't know if she's still there. I want to heal up Patrick and Dirk. I'm over there up in Nonsuch there. Up our, I don't know Nonsuch the madam come from. Where you call over here, so? Norwich. Yes. Heal them two man if I'm up in Norwich. I want to heal up Don from down here in Bombrook. Long time. I want to heal up Bartley. I'm down at Bombrook Castle. Pauline out there in St. Mary. Long time listener, first time original caller. I want to heal up Joy. Joy, that's, I think it's from Antigua, living in the US. Yes. Some people who've been listening to the program from inception. And of course, those who are overseas, in the States of America, or in the Trump states. Those who are now listening to the program for the first time, particularly those in the continent of Africa, Uganda, and Kenya, and those various places listening into the Metamorphosis. And I would say, heal up and give thanks for the devices of technology that allow the reasoning to go through the atmosphere. Yeah, so over there, I'm going through.
They had a plan, no solution, more confusion.
They were walking on gravel, just like me. Everyone's trying to be free. Walking on gravel, just like me. Everyone's trying to be free. Oh,
Looking on the childhood I once knew, wondering why my dreams never came true. Thinking on the good things when I die, trying to get my piece of the pie. But I was
walking on gravel in those times. Politicians and priests, they committing more crimes. Walking on gravel in those times. Politicians and priests, they committing more crimes. Hey, 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 hey.
way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's hurting England again here. This brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals. Set.
They get away first time. Tyson Gay right alongside Usain Bolt, but here he goes, streaking away already. It's Bolt all the way. He's looking round at Gay. Watch the clock. It's goal for Bolt. And again, he's done it again. A new world record for Usain Bolt.
Yeah, the world record is still Usain Bolt. This is sports on the Metamorphosis. Long time I don't really go around this corner. So much has built up over the last couple of months in this world. This arena that the African is a dominant player, dominant performer in sports from A to Z. Any sport from A to Z, once the African is introduced to it, he becomes a dominant player. But I want to begin with Bolt. And Bolt, we know, is a legend, living in Jamaica, living legend, and has done the right thing to retire from athletics at a reasonable age, 31, but has done the even better thing, which is now to give up on this pursuit of a career in professional football. I want to say, first of all, I'm very, very glad that Bolt has seen the blackness and realized that professional football is a world unto itself into which you can enter that at 30 years old to have fun. Because there are people in that world from their eyes at their knees, and that is their whole desire and ambition to become a professional player. So it was good that he had an opportunity to tone down, because that energy that him had carrying as a world beater couldn't be just turned off like a switch. He might have to find a way to tone down. Unfortunately, never pick up any injury, and his legend has not been tainted because they never accused him of anything, and he was able to go in and come out and hold everything together, because it's important that 10 years down the road, the imagery and the status that has been created by him for himself will remain, and it will become a motivation for youths right around the world. So I give thanks that Bolt step aside. And there was a time in Michael Jordan's career, I think when his father died, he was so demotivated. But he still had that potential and energy, but he couldn't play any more basketball because he lost the will and the desire to play. His baseball, Jordan go play for a year. And after that year, I think that was enough to grieve and to come to grips with the fact that his father was no longer with him, and he returned to the NBA. So I fully over Bolt's energy. That at that highest level, you can't turn it off. You have to turn it down. And I think him survive, and he has done the right thing. Come out of football before a man put a real tackle upon him and show him, say, this is a contact sport. Bolt never played a contact sport. You can't learn contact sport at 30. Every lick going to hurt, and you're going to start play with fear, and it just doesn't work. On another note now, football, I want to congratulate now Andrew Edwards, otherwise known as Kola. Because Kola has made a very significant move now in his career in football coaching. This is a youth now who got the whistle at high school and got the insights and the desire and the ambition to pursue coaching. No, it's not a very rewarding profession in Jamaica. It's not even considered a profession. As a matter of fact, I'm of the view that football coaching is the most despised, not even despised, is the most abusive role that a person can get involved in terms of coaching. You get the most abuse when you're a football coach. And there's not much compensation financially, because the society don't respect the value of a coach. It took Renee Simowes to come here to realize that coaches must be paid, and highly paid. But you see, in this plantation society, they don't rate sports. They rate the performers because they can go near the winners, but they don't rate the teachers of the sports. So there's nothing much is put in place. I'm saying this to say to you now that Kola moved from the level of a schoolboy coach in Jamaica to a national coach, under 17. And apparently, there was no further progression. where color now is overseas. It is such a wonderful set of news to get to know that he is now the technical director of the Turks and Caicos Island. Now this is an absolutely brilliant move. It's not just him alone. I see Lawrence along with the package, Wild Boy Lawrence. And Lawrence him give up 4 different coaching roles and abandon everything him doing in Jamaica because he has never been offered this amount of finances to coach football yet. So this island continues to produce international talent, but because of the oppression, them don't want to pay us nothing here in Jamaica. It's like a strategy to force you out of the country because of low wages. And yet the politicians give themselves high and fat rewards. And they're always ahead of the economy. But I and I, the talent and the workers, coming like we have left Jamaica all the while. Well, I'm saying to Colin and the other 2 coaches, go on. Because the ceiling looks as if it is low in Jamaica. And as soon as you get a certain level, there is no further to go because of structures and friendship and brethren and friendship and cliques. Now the man is in a different place. And that 2-year program, we're looking for the Turks and Caicos Islands to make themselves visible and present. And it's just a matter of time before more of our coaches find them way outside of Jamaica. In this generation, Kohli is in Iran. He has led the way out of the country. Kola is gone. 2 more coaches gone with him, Wild Boy Lawrence. So there's going to be a drain, a coaching drain, and we already have a low quorum of coaches. So you see what's going to happen. And until this society, the rich and the government decide to reward our people with monies that they can live in Jamaica, the drain of the brain will continue. Is that how we want to run our country, where the best talent has to run out to upgrade themselves? Something have to change, because it's not a lack of resources. It's just a plantocracy holding black people in one spot. So in order to upgrade ourselves, we have to leave the country. It's a shame. The violence that we experience is not what's driving the people out. It's the violence at the top. Mismanagement, robbery at Petrojam, NSWA, all of these various places. Well, I'm going to tell you, sports is like religion now to black people. Yeah, that is our religion. So we could claim it and finance it. Yeah, metamorphosis.
It's life. The power of the energy. The power of the frequency. Selassie I energy. Selassie I frequency. Emmanuel Jesus. All things rise and passed away. Just the flow of life and change exists that day. While I and I resist to conform, Selassie bring a perfect storm. Perfect storm. Perfect storm. Perfect storm. Selassie bring a perfect storm. Lord, just another chaos to awaken us. We are feeling go Babylon, it's a must. I cast a living gun contagious. We need a change, and it is up to us. Big up the Rasta man who labor for this. As the word of King Selassie say, fit is of the fit. Some pretend to pay attention, slide and slip. But I will give a good advice. The best possibility, perfect storm. Stop bring a perfect storm. Oh, perfect storm. I and I have been a perfect storm. Same young, same old. Same
and still I hold your own. With the boss, the stay firm. The fittest of the fittest stay strong in a perfect storm. That's the man I bring a perfect storm. Perfect storm. I bring a perfect storm. Perfect storm. That's the man I bring a perfect storm.
Yeah, the Metamorphosis on the final stages of another edition. Still speaking about sports a bit, turn of football, and I'm saying, looking like it's to the black people, sports is the avenue where we should be focusing on building our political allegiances. And you know, last week or the week before, America had its biggest cultural sport event. They think it's the greatest event in the world because they think that they are the world. It's called the Super Bowl. And they are thinking that the Super Bowl is bigger than even the World Cup. This is the nerve of the Americans. You know, and they have also challenged FIFA and often on different occasions, trying to get control of international football. But their football game now is a high point in the culture. And this time around, you know, I turned on my television just at the time when they were spinning the coin. And I saw Martin Luther King family out there. And I was trying to figure out what I was really watching. And then it went to a commercial break and I saw King again. And the whole Martin Luther King thing. And I am wondering, what is this? The Super Bowl I'm watching? Or is this a documentary on Martin Luther King? And then it became very clear to me now that by halftime they had Gladys Knight singing. And what the Americans were doing, the white power structure, was trying to blacken up the Super Bowl final. So you blacken it up to try to remove the protests led by Kaepernick and the real issues of America and its discrimination and inequality amongst black people. So them caught the Super Bowl with commercials and intermittent programs that showing black people. So sports cannot be separated from politics. And you can't separate sports from race. And it was very evident in the Super Bowl that a point was being made to the black people and to those who are resisting the structure and the injustice in America. Because they're trying to show you that kneeling now is almost like you're breaking the law now if you kneel. So football in America is a game that is dominated by black people. And if the black players go slow, the NFL shut down. But the NFL is one of those institutions that's run by billionaire white men. And they control the teams. And they define the money. Because the money comes through the media, it comes through all the other aspects of sports. Is the black people now must realize that they are not just pawns in the game. But if they organize themselves collectively, that sporting arena could be the site of the revolution. Yes, that is where the collectivity can operate. We have so much difference in religion. We have so much difference in politics. But we have a unification within the dimension of sport. So if we use our sporting powers to begin to push for demands for the changes that we need. So politics and sports are inseparable from the black man point of view. And from the white man point of view, you should never mix them because he knows why. When we mix sports and politics, black man get conscious because there is no platform to speak publicly and internationally about our issues. So don't make them fool us. Sport is not about idleness. Sports is a new revenue site, and it's a site for political unification. It's a site of the revolution. Metamorphosis.
All highs is unlost.
So remember, all highs is on Rasta. Let's move constructively. Be at the right place at the right time. Let's move constructively. Be at the right place at the right time. Let's move. There's some little girls and boys in the rain. Sha-la-la-la-la. There's some little girls and boys in the rain. Sha-la-la-la-la. Want some understanding, deep understanding about Rasta. Rasta no fire burn Rasta. Rasta no hate Rasta. Rasta no fight Rasta. I love Rasta. I love Rasta. Let's move constructively. Tell the children, tell them, so we got to move on. Move on to the future. Oh yes, the new century. There's some little girls and boys in the rain. Sha-la-la-la-la. There's some little girls and boys in the rain. Sha-la-la-la-la. Rastaman, we got to be ready. Not like Freddy, more than Freddy. Rastaman. And when we moving along, we will be always singing Jaja song. You can come along, my neighbors, come along. You can come along, my neighbors, come along. Yes, Rasta. Yes, we're moving, we're moving too. Yes, we're grooving, we're grooving too. Yes, we're dancing, we're dancing too. Yes, Rasta. There's some little girls and boys in the rain. Sha-la-la-la-la. There's some little girls and boys in the rain.
Yeah, Metamorphosis. Giving thanks for the opportunity to sit in and speak the thoughts that pass through the brain. And Carl Jung, great psychologist, tells us that the pendulum of the mind alternates between sense and nonsense.